Okay, this is a response video to Truth Be Told for You. To the best of my knowledge, he believes in preserving cultures through statism. He, just like anyone, is entitled to his beliefs and is free to act upon his own accord. So must ask that if any anarchists leave him comments, remember what I've said in my How Not to Fight Bigotry video. His channel will be linked in the sidebar. Truth be told for you, I thank you for your comments. They really made me think about a few things. However, I'm still not convinced, and here's why. First of all, we must both agree that no one can pass valuable criticism on anything without understanding it. So just like I can't say whether I like a certain food before tasting it. Okay, so your first claim was people are unequal. Socially speaking, yes, I agree. We're all from different classes, different cultures, different whatever. However, anyone can commit to an idea that they can change their social class and achieve this. Biologically, however, we are not equal. We're all made from the same stuff. We all get sick, bleed, die, suffer hunger and other hardships. I was not talking about a strive for equality, however. I was talking about the realization that anyone is free to do anything to reach their goals. The only thing stopping them from hurting others is the understanding that there isn't a one without the other. But we'll get to that later. So the only equality I talk about is the equality of freedom, which does exist everywhere in nature. People strive for order. If by striving for order you mean, cyclic attributes in one's surroundings in order to have predictability, I agree. However, I wasn't discussing chaos either. I was discussing the lack of authority, not the lack of order. People seek power because self-rule is comforting. I disagree completely. I think people seek power, and by power I mean in the form of higher classes in society and money, for the same reason squirrels gather nuts, to try and avoid hunger and other catastrophes. But let's say that with power comes greater number of possibilities, greater freedoms, if you will, in one's life. This idea is also flawed because with great power comes also great responsibility. Yes, that's from a movie. Therefore, it's not necessarily comforting. For example, let's say I own a company which makes webcams. I'm high up in society and don't have to give a damn about anyone, right? Well, wrong. If I don't satisfy my customers, I'll be out of business. So you always serve somebody. In order to satisfy my customers, I have to be reliable for a great number of things, such as making sure everything's in place and that everyone's working properly, keeping track of the numbers, of prices, and so on and so forth. However, if I'm a simple worker that, say, packs the webcams, I only have to satisfy one man, and that's my personal manager. So I have to satisfy less expectations. So self-rule is comforting, that I agree. That's what the ideology of anarchism strives for, as I explained earlier, by freedom. Those that cannot win power win it by following someone who can. That is correct. That is true. However, I believe it's a cooperation. Therefore, the non-powerful and non-leaders are useful to the leaders and the powerful. Therefore, there are also the non-powerful and non-leaders are also powerful while they know this. So a company cannot function without its workers, and a government cannot function without the will of its citizens. Here where you recap I'd like to add, communism is the rule of the people. That's the definition of communism. However, the definition of anarchism is the no rule at all. Therefore, they're not the same. I'm sorry I can't explain the full definition further. It's because I'm limited to 10 minutes, as you can see, and I'm too lazy to make another video. Group mentality as a guiding principle is older than individualism. Well, let's say you're right, but still, just because something is older doesn't make it better, because everything in the universe is in constant change except for change itself. I think group mentality corresponds with individualism, because the whole cannot, therefore, not one is better than the other, because the whole is not better than its parts, and vice versa. This is where I get to the claim there isn't a one without the other I was talking about earlier. If we didn't have collectivism, we wouldn't have time to comment on YouTube. We'd be too busy purifying our own waters, growing our own food, hunting our own meat, mending our own clothes, etc. If we didn't have individualism, on the other hand, we wouldn't have any major changes in our society for a very long time, because most ideas would be refused before any inventor could explain. So we need each other to invest time in our own freedom. That's the basic idea. Now, anarchy would also only work if we took away the comfort people feel in finding like-mindedness, or simply make all men different, or alternatively the same. I disagree completely. If people understand they have just as much freedom as others to form their own opinions, then no group will ever need dismantling. And anyone can be individualists. They can think for themselves. They don't have to be the same. You speak of an ideology that does not reflect the realities of our world. I disagree. People tend to eat and drink what they want, and so they tend to see and hear what they want. This is what's called, what's known as subjective normality, or subjective reality. My ideology doesn't reflect the realities of your world, just like your ideology doesn't reflect the realities of my world. However, the realities of both our worlds, the subjective world, is unknown. We don't have enough information to know what exactly is natural or unnatural, or the ultimate truth in the objective world where we both live. Therefore, I can't defend myself in that realm. And I never said I knew and preach an ultimate truth. I even said I don't in the beginning of the Proof of Anarchism Part 1 video. So once again, truth be told for you, thank you for your comments, and I hope I cleared up some things, and I hope to talk to you soon. See ya.